Hello, folks. This is LT with And We Know, based off of the verse Romans 8:28, my favorite verse. We're going to be talking about Republicans fighting back and looking great, the storm used in top military tweets, panic in D.C. I'm going to take you through Q post details on calling out Q followers insane through Twitter, December shootings on a Q post, and Rush speaks, and more. All this light. It's amazing to see. Speaking of light, the new Patriot Brother X2020 flashlight model is here. Never waste money on batteries again. The Patriot flashlight is solar powered with the new extended 3,000 mAh powered battery. It's powered by the sun. Lights up by the darkest of nights with the new powerful 800 lumen flashlight that can be seen miles away. Life-saving emergency strobe light setting along with 4 more unique lighting modes. And you can charge your phone anywhere with the USB port. Get your World Patriot flashlight today. Click in the description box below. PatriotFlashlight.com. Use promo code NO20 for 20% off. Now for And We Know News.
Absolutely not. You and House Democrat leadership are tearing apart the country. You said the evidence needs to be clear. It is not. You said offenses need to be grave. They are not. You said that once the evidence is laid out, that the opposition will admit they had to do it. That has not happened. In fact, polling and the fact that not one single Republican voted on the impeachment inquiry resolution or on the Schiff report reveal the opposite is true. In fact, what you and your Democratic colleagues have done is opposite of what you said had to be done. This is a partisan impeachment. And it is tearing the country apart. I take this all to mean that Chairman Nadler, along with the rest of the Democratic caucus, is prepared to continue these entirely partisan, unfair proceedings and traumatize the American people, all for a political purpose.
Folks, if you're new to this channel, thank you for visiting. We've got 220,000 subscribers now. Thank you so much. We have a Twitter account at And We Know. Thank you so much. I gather a lot of news and a lot of folks out there, the Anons, people out there so special, tweeting things, definitely helps gather great news, trying to piece it all together to make it easier to find. And if you didn't know this, you don't get maybe alerts on when the videos come out. All you have to do is go to that email section on my website, andweknow.com. You can just click in the description box below, and it's down there. And just put your email in there, hit enter, and you will be subscribed and know when these videos are put out. If you didn't know, this Congresswoman Debbie Lesko definitely opened with a great video. We appreciate her. She's proudly representing the Arizona's 8th Congressional District in Congress. Thank you so much. The do-nothing Democrats had a historically bad day yesterday in the House. This is from the president's tweet. They have no impeachment case and are demeaning our country. But nothing matters to them. They have gone crazy. And folks, we're going to cover this craziness here in a little bit. Therefore, I say, if you are going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair trial in the Senate and so that our country can get back to business. We will have Schiff, the Bidens, Pelosi, and many more testify and will reveal for the first time how corrupt our system really is. I was elected to clean the swamp, and that's what I'm doing. He's definitely doing it with the help of so many Anons uncovering what's going on thanks to a lot of the Q posts and what have you. The next thing I want to cover is Twitter. I've noticed the military sites have posted things interesting. We had the U.S. Army post, and I was going to talk about this the other day, but just simply put it up. The calm before the storm. A team of Rangers silently hold their position before executing a platoon raid. And this was a photo by 2nd Battalion 75th Ranger Regiment. And it was interesting. Many folks were commenting on the location, possible location of that particular picture on the right from the Army. And then recently we saw the Riders on the Storm post by the U.S. Marine Corps Public Affairs on Twitter. So we see storm in both Twitter posts. It's interesting because I was in public affairs in the Marine Corps for nearly 20 years, and normally when you're using keywords like that, you have to have somebody from the top bring that word down so that everybody's using it, and it makes us wonder if this is the storm that we're referring to and that the military is helping with. I certainly wish I was in the Marine Corps now to see what's going on. We have a Q post 3650 with panic in D.C. Several Twitter posts below exposing what is going on with this from the New York Times. And they're saying in that headline, accused of killing a Gambino mob boss, he's presenting a novel defense. And what's that defense? Well, New York Times tweeted it. A follower of the baseless QAnon conspiracy theory killed a Gambino mob boss in Staten Island because he thought the man was part of the deep state scheming against President Trump. His defense lawyers say that makes him legally insane. So they're calling QAnon baseless. They're calling it a conspiracy theory. So all this from a newspaper who's supposed to report straight news, they're throwing in adjectives to try to make everybody believe these stupid things that they're putting out. But they have to stay in unison, so we're going to cover that. I'm going to show you every Twitter post here on the bottom left from Panic in DC from Q. Before we get to that, let's talk about this news item. We have it from Ollie Watkins, New York Times. 4 days after pulling off the most high-profile mob killing in decades, Anthony Comello sat down with New York Police Department detectives and told them that the CIA had infiltrated the mafia, and he added the government was spying on him. He had put his phone in a copper bag to protect it from satellites, he told them, and Democratic operatives in Washington were doing business with Joaquin Guzman Loera, the Mexican drug kingpin known as El Chapo. In the 9 months since that conversation, Mr. Comello, 25, has claimed to his lawyer that he killed Francesco Colli because the mob boss was part of the deep state, a member of a liberal cabal working to undermine President Trump. At one court appearance, Mr. Comello scrawled on his hand a symbol and phrases associated with the far-right conspiracy theory QAnon. Now, in that article, it's pretty long, I posted this. How the crime's three major components, an aimless drifter from Staten Island, the underboss of the Gambino crime family, and a far-right internet conspiracy theory collided on a dark street in the Tot Hill has perplexed law enforcement officials and mob watchers alike. Conspiracy theories and disinformation campaigns have seen something of a renaissance with the rise of social media, in turn becoming embedded in modern political discourse. But while millions have read unsupported theories, there they go with those adjectives again, unsupported theories, propounded in dark corners of the internet. Yep, we're all part of dark corners, folks. Some have been prompted to act violently. This is such a lie from Satan and from his minions at the Times, New York Times. In December 2016, Edgar Madison Welch, 31, traveled from North Carolina to D.C. and began shooting inside of a family pizza restaurant after reading an unfounded internet conspiracy theory that claimed Democratic candidates were running a child prostitution ring in its basement. And we already know, most of you know what's going on with that particular story, why it was a lie, why they set up this entire thing and shooting, which was not done in truth. We know what happened. They set it all up to try to make Q followers look like we're insane. Let's go through this. So who posted this? All of these links on the bottom left of Panic in D.C. that you see here on the bottom left, I pulled each one of them. Let's look what we got. We have Julia Hart, New York man who claimed the mobster he killed was part of an anti-Trump deep state and came to court with QAnon symbols drawn on his hand, will attempt insanity defense. At what point does belief in a far-right conspiracy theory make you legally insane? So who is this Julia Hart? She covers national affairs at Routers, whatever you want to call it, formerly covering national security. It says at Public Eye, at Stable Center, alum, Turcophile, whistleblower, hugger, whatever that means, and young explorer. Then we have Philip Bump posted, I spoke with an expert on how insanity and criminality overlap back in July about the connection of the killing of a mob boss on Staten Island with QAnon. So who's this dude? National correspondent for the Washington Post. That figures, and he's got 123,000 followers, supposedly. Then we have Stan Vuger. He retweeted that story from the Times. Accused of killing a Gambino mob boss, he's presenting a novel defense, QAnon insanity. The New York Times. Who is this dude? Resident scholar at Harvard, visiting lecturer. Isn't it amazing what comes out of that university? And we have Samuel Oakford. Does belief in QAnon make you legally insane? Mob hit trial may tell. He posted that, and where does he work? He's at Storyful, works at Bellingcat, Air Wars, and Foreign Policy, and New York Times. He has New York Times also posted as an @ or tag. Let's go to the next set here. We have Ali Watkins, who appears to write the story, is a scribbler at the New York Times. Come for the news, stay for the Philly hype. And we have Mike McIntyre. Does belief in QAnon make you legally insane? He is an investigative reporter at New York Times, winner of Pulitzer Prizes, author of Champion's Way. We have JJ McNabb. She also tweets it out, and that was a tweet with Q's post. Fellow George Washington University's program on extremism. Contributor, anti-government extremism at Forbes, UC Berkeley alumna. Justin Hendricks puts, does belief in QAnon make you legally insane? ? Mob hit trial may tell. And so this person's Brooklyn, emerging media and technology, in New York City, a media lab plus R Lab, formerly at The Economist. And let's go to the next set. We have Thomas Hutchin. He has this in a different language. And it's just interesting. I caught that this guy actually is at Spice Media and trumping democracy. And he's a TEDx talker. Interesting, huh? Peter Dow, is this the first time we've seen the QAnon defense for a murder? Interesting, huh? He had to put that in there. He claims to be a war survivor, a jazz pianist, and a former Clinton and Kerry advisor. Husband to Leela Dow. Huh. And then we have Will Summer. He also posted, and he's a tech and internet reporter at the Daily Beast. And Yahoo News, of course, had to cover it. We go into Adam Goldman, posted, that's a New York Times reporter covering FBI and national security, ex-Washington Post, and AP. Don't they all just run in the same circles? And then Mart Pitkavijan, I'm not going to say his name right, latest on the, quote, QAnon killer of mob boss. So he just basically calls him out like that. Senior Research Fellow, Center on Extremism, Anti-Defamation League, expert on right-wing extremism. Views expressed here, my own only. Retweets, not my views. And so there we go, folks. All of those posts, interesting that Q points them out. Took the time to do that. Next, we had a Q post, Q3654, 6 shootings in early December. So it says, how many shootings? D in the target brackets, 1 through 6. And he has links to these articles. I'm going to show you those. And the first one, D6, we're going to start from the top. Florida shooting updates. Authorities say it's too early to know if it's terrorism. Here's what you need to know. Other Saudis on the base are being questioned. The gunman was a Saudi Air Force member training to be a pilot. President Trump spoke with the Saudi king about the shooting. Among the 8 wounded were 2 deputies. And so we'll go to the D5 post on the left, D5, that says Pearl Harbor deadly shooting. Navy weighs beefing up security for December 7th ceremony. Interesting. D4, Jackson State University briefly locked down after active shooter incident. And that was posted on December 4th. We have Jackson State University was briefly locked down Wednesday, and students and staff were urged to take shelter due to an active shooter. Interesting, huh? So we have D3. D3 on the left, that link to this. Oshkosh, Wisconsin, school shooting leaves student and officer injured. And the next one we have is D2. Student with gun is shot by officer in Wisconsin high school, police say. The student, who was in stable condition, had pointed the gun at officers in the, I don't know how to say that word, South High School, officials said. And then D1, 10 people shot in New Orleans, police say. 2 of the victims were in critical condition. Folks, it's just interesting that Q is pointing out in this post that the Q is following these type of shootings. And what are they trying to do? It's just like clockwork, according to Q3604, which is there, February 11th, 2019. Step 4, open new fake and false investigations as chairman of the House Intel Committee to retain disinformation campaign designed to keep liberal D-Americans on board to regain power and prevent prosecution. Executive time, Q. So it's interesting. It seems like they're using these shootings to, again, retain disinformation campaign. Let's go to the next Q post, Q3651. People actually believe those responsible for the attempted coup attempt in the target brackets of a duly elected sitting U.S. president will go unpunished. End to our constitutional republic, no equal justice under the law, no accountability, escape unscathed, enjoy the show, Q. And that's that FISA Gate poster right there that we love so much. Q3652, there's a picture again from Ben Garrison. We have people actually believe those responsible for stealing billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars will actually go unpunished. This is not simply another 4-year election. Quote from the President of the United States, Q. We had another post here that is pain punishment meme, Q3653. Let's look at some of the pain and punishment happening recently. The first one is Pocahontas. President Trump holds rallies in football stadiums. Elizabeth Warren holds rallies in bowling alleys. Game over. And this is from @ChizMaga. Let's listen.
But even so, I shouldn't have done it. I am not a person of color. I am not a citizen of a tribe. And I have apologized for confusion I've caused on tribal citizenship, tribal sovereignty, and for any harm that I've caused.
Isn't that amazing? She's apologizing. Had we not been told by our great president, maybe most of us wouldn't have known she was such a liar. Let's go to the next punishment section here. Notice that Harvey Weinstein appeared in court today, and this is from @DeepStateExpose. When was the last time we've seen a bad guy in cuffs? Too long. Check this out, guys. Take a close look. And that's enough that we've seen of that. It's just interesting to see him out in the public. He really looked depleted and wore out. Where are the demons to support him now? Next punishment here, we have Joe Biden exploded in anger at a retired farmer who asked about his son's payouts from a Ukrainian gas company. He called him some names, and let's just take a look.
Joe, I'm an old a retired farmer. I'm kind of unique because I'm not a Republican. Okay. I've got two problems with you. One, you're 10 years old as I am. Too old. I'm 83, and I know damn well I don't have the mental faculties I did when I was 30 years old. All right, the other, that's all.
Wait a minute, I'll answer.
No, I got a question I want you to answer. We all know Trump has been messing around in the Ukraine over there, holding their foreign aid for them to come up, saying they're going to investigate you. We know all about that. He's no backbone, we know into that. But you, on the other hand, sent your son over there to get a job and work for a gas company that he had no experience before. That's for nothing. In order to get access to the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he is. So
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No one has heard that?
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I don't like to get up and no, let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people now. And I can get things done. And that's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take my Number two. No one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Now,
I didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I read here on MSNBC.
You don't hear that on MSNBC. You did not hear that at all. What you heard? Look, okay, I'm not going to get married with you, man.
Well, I don't want to.
Well, yeah, you do, but look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
It looks like you don't have any more backbone than Trump does.
Let him talk.
Any other questions?
Yeah, all right. I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you were, man. You think I thought you said I would vote for you? You're too old to vote for me.
So he calls him all kinds of names, he gets upset, and he screams pretty loud at the guy. So those that scream louder, we know they are guilty. It's amazing, folks that get loud and yell and get angry and share things about other folks. Seems like the louder they get, the more they come after you, the more guilty they appear of what they're actually screaming about. So let's take just a reminder here of what this guy's done. Let's push play here.
Now, I'll give you one concrete example. I was, not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. So I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Boy, that's just not good for him. I don't need to go into details about that particular incident there. He's in big trouble. Also on the punishment realm is this young lady right here. Let's watch.
Thank you.
Here are the latest headlines now. 2 hours ago, Nancy Pelosi came out right off a sorry.
Representative
I know
Cohen,
that was raised in the Catholic house. We don't hate anybody, not anybody in the world. Relax, Jim.
Accuse me.
I did not accuse you.
You did.
I asked the question.
You did. And
Representative Collins yesterday suggested that the Democrats are doing this simply because they don't like the
I
guy.
had nothing to do with it. Let me just say this.
I think it's important.
I think the president is a coward when it comes to helping our kids who are afraid of gun violence. I think he is cruel when he doesn't deal with helping our dreamers, of which we're very proud. I think he's in denial about the climate crisis. However, that's about the election. This is about the elect. Take it up in the election. This is about the Constitution of the United States and the facts that lead to the president's violation of his oath of office. And as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love, and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that.
All right, Rush, tell us what you think.
Well, absolutely, as they all do. Isn't it funny, though, that Pelosi invokes her Catholicism on everything but abortion? When that comes up, you'd never know she's a Catholic, and she won't talk about it. But I'll give you an example of this. Yesterday, Pelosi said that we've got to impeach Trump because he wants to be a monarch. He's saying Article 2 lets him do anything. You know what the context of that? He was on with George Stephanopoulos. I went back and looked at this. He was on with George Stephanopoulos. He was talking about firing Mueller. Stephanopoulos was trying to make him guilty for wanting to fire Mueller. Trump's answering, I didn't fire Mueller. I could have fired Mueller. Article 2, I can do anything. She takes it totally out of context and tries to make it into something that it isn't. She said yesterday in that press conference, and look, the hate is dripping off of these people. It's the one thing that's noticeable. They literally hate. If you've wondered what hate is, it's on parade in this impeachment. It's on parade anytime any Democrat goes on TV. It was on parade with those three so-called witnesses, those law professors. She said yesterday, this really isn't about Ukraine, it's about Russia. It's about Russia. There's no evidence. You realize they have not a shred of evidence for any allegation they have made about Donald Trump for 3.5 going on 4 years. There isn't anything. Meanwhile, Trump keeps plugging away. The economy is roaring. Its future looks great. Wages are up. Trump's job approval numbers are up. The Democrat Party does not care about the things the American people cares about. Pelosi and her leadership are devoted to one thing. They are almost sickeningly absorbed with destroying Donald Trump, and they're not going to succeed at that either.
Hey, Rush, the other...
Thank you, Rush. Absolutely amazing. Let's go to one of my favorites, Marsha Blackburn out of Tennessee. Let's take a listen.
In Tennessee, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, what on earth is going on here? Because impeachment's not, you're laughing, but look, impeachment is not going to go through the Senate. It's not going to go through. It's just not. They're not going to remove this guy from office. So what are they trying to do here?
No, and the thing was, she has allowed her conference to pull her so far left, Stuart. And she had said, oh, impeachment, no, we're not going to do it. That was a year ago. Nadler also. And now here they are tilting left. And if they were watching the Democrat presidential primary play out, they would see that the guys that are tilting left are now gone. They have fallen off the left side of that stage. So they're going to proceed with this. They're going to write up their articles of impeachment. They're going to cast as wide a net as they think they can so that they can make the left wing happy. In the meantime, what they are doing is putting the House in play for Republicans to take it back, because all of these moderate Democrats are going, hey, wait a minute. I'm opening my pay stub. I've got my Christmas bonus. I'm getting a raise next year. My 401k looks great. My kids graduating from college, they already have a job. They got a signing bonus for that job. People are very happy right now. And if Nancy and the leadership in the House got outside of the left coast, East Coast bubble, they would see what's going on in America.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Marsha Blackburn and Ronna McDaniel, the GOP chairwoman, for posting that particular video. Let's continue with the punishment of this lady here.
You, as you recall, no doubt, on the day you became Speaker of the House in January of this year, you were asked about impeachment, and you said that it would, quote, have to be so clearly bipartisan in terms of acceptance of it. But as you just noted, there are no Republicans in the House who support either the impeachment inquiry, and it appears as though none of them are going to support impeachment itself. Does this mean that you're failing to meet the standard that you set in January?
No, I'm saying that the Republicans have failed to meet the standard of honoring their oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Are you willing to impeach President Trump even if there are no Republican votes in the House in favor of it?
I've asked for the writing of the articles of impeachment.
Okay.
She won't even look at him. Did you notice that? She's just looking away. She's so ticked because she's being called out for her lies, outright lies of saying we're going to make this a bipartisan impeachment. And we know that as the truth continues to pour out and she knows she's getting closer to her payday for punishment is coming. She can't even face it. She's losing her mind. Let's continue the punishment. We noticed that at CJ Truth posted, CEO departures hit a new high in October on pace for a record year. Q post 2072, interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are many powerful CEOs, members of Congress, Senate resigning? Coincidence? And there's the headline, CEO departures hit a new high in October on pace for a record year. Key points. October marked the highest month on record with 172 chief executives leaving their posts, according to business and executive coaching firm Challenger, Gray & Christmas. Chief executives from SAP, ServiceNow, Nike, and Under Armour said farewell last month. McDonald's Steve Easterbrook was fired this week. 2019 is on track to be the highest number of CEO departures on record. Notice that on the qmap.pub, you can actually go to that in the description box below. There's a tab on the left. It is called Resignations. You can see all the CEO resignations from that collected there. The latest one they have posted is 22 November. CEO Chris, it looks like Jaguez out of the UK, Red-centric, resigned. Next thing I want to cover here is Pope Francis compares Trump to Herod, who tried to kill Jesus. Pope Francis compares the Trump to a murderous King Herod. That was from Breitbart.com. You can read that article in the description box below. Notice that anyone noticed that the YouTube video that Q linked to was published on May 24th, 2017. Now that YouTube post was the one, it's gonna be biblical. This is from @Julian's Rum. That's the same day the President of the United States met with the Pope, and this infamous photo was taken. It's going to be biblical. #QAnon. Notice the visit from this guy in the center and how they're both smiling. And notice on the right over here, he's not, Pope's not smiling so much, but Trump looks like he's in a great mood. All right, so Alex Brusewitz says Pamela Karlan, professor at Stanford, donated to Elizabeth Warren, gets triggered when she walks by the Trump Hotel, takes shots at real Donald Trump's 13-year-old son. This is the best the Democrats could come up with. Pathetic losers. Let's take a listen to what she said.
So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron. So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron.
So there she is making fun of Trump's son. Melania Trump posted, a minor child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics. Pamela Karlan, you should be ashamed of your very angry and obviously biased public pandering and using a child to do it. Bravo. Thank you, First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump. Let's take a look at this Pamela Karlan a little closer. It says right here from Cindy C's Truth, here's exactly why Stanford's fake professor, Pamela Karlan, hates the president. Let's take a listen.
We have to seize back the high ground on patriotism and on love of our country because we have more reason than they do to love America. The rich Pampered, prodigal, sanctimonious, incurious, white, straight sons of the powerful do pretty well everywhere in the world, and they always have. But what about us? Snarky, bisexual Jewish women who want the freedom to say what we think, read what we want, and love whom we do.
All right, let's listen to her in 2017.
The Mexican judge, the rapist, all of the Mexican... I mean, Donald Trump has sexually assaulted more women than 99.99% of all of the people who've entered this country illegally. I mean, by himself, he's done more, right? And yet, you know, I'm serious that, you know, and people have stopped thinking about it because it's just like every day it's a new one, and I worry about that because I think that may stop us from ever getting to the red light moment. It's like you just keep slouching towards Gomorrah, to quote the Mexican judge, the rapist, all of the Mexican... I mean, Donald Trump has sexually assaulted more women than 99.9...
So we know that Representative Gatz took them to the cleaners, all of those witnesses, including Carlin. I'm going to show you the clip from what he did to them, including starting out with Carlin.
Professor Carlin, you gave $2,000, or you gave $1,000 to Elizabeth Warren, right?
I believe so.
You gave $1,200 bucks to Barack Obama?
I have no reason to question that.
And you gave $2,000 to Hillary Clinton?
That's correct.
Why so much more for Hillary than the other two?
Because I've been giving a lot of money to charity recently because of all of the poor people in the United States.
Well, those aren't the only folks you've been given to. Now, have you ever been on a podcast called Versus Trump?
I think I was on a live panel that the people who ran the podcast called Versus Trump.
On that, do you remember saying the following? Liberals tend to cluster more. Conservatives, especially very conservative people, tend to spread out more, perhaps because they don't even want to be around themselves. Did you say that?
Yes, I did.
Do you understand how that reflects contempt on people who are conservative?
No, what I was talking about there was the natural tendency, if you put the quote in context, the natural tendency of a compactness requirement to favor a party whose voters are more spread out.
Well,
and I do
Professor,
not have contempt
hold on. Again, I'm very limited on time, Professor. And so I just have to say, when you talk about how liberals want to be around each other and cluster, and conservatives don't want to be around each other, and so they have to spread out, it makes people, you may not see this from, you know, like the ivory towers of your law school, but it makes actual people in this country feel like, excuse me, you don't get to interrupt me on this time. Now, let me also suggest that when you invoke the president's son's name here, when you try to make a little joke out of referencing Barron Trump, that does not lend credibility to your argument. It makes you look mean. It makes you look like you're attacking someone's family, the minor child of the President of the United States. So let's see if we can get into the facts. To all of the witnesses, if you have personal knowledge of a single material fact in the Schiff report, please raise your hand. And let the record reflect no personal knowledge of a single fact. And you know what? That continues on the tradition that we saw from Adam Schiff, where Ambassador Taylor could not identify an impeachable offense. Mr. Kent never met with the president. Fiona Hill never heard the president reference anything regarding military aid. Mr. Hale was unaware of any nefarious activity with aid. Colonel Vindman even rejected the new Democrat talking point that bribery was invoked here. Ambassador Volker denied that there was a quid pro quo, and Mr. Morrison said there was nothing wrong on the call. The only direct evidence came from Gordon Sondland, who spoke to the President of the United States, and the President said, "I want nothing. No quid pro quo." And you know what? If wiretapping a political opponent's an impeachable offense, I look forward to reading that Inspector General's report, because maybe it's a different president we should be impeaching.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Outstanding. Did you feel that? Boy, I was with them the whole time. I was so brilliant. Standing ovation for Representative Gatz there. Dan Bongino said on Twitter, never forget the Democrats always accuse others of what they're guilty of. The Dems' 2016 collusion with Ukrainians to interfere in our election is documented, and they're desperate to hide the story by using their media allies to counter-accuse. Oldest trick in the book. Next up, Representative Jim Jordan at Speaker Pelosi is counting impeachment votes. Here's what President Trump is counting: 266,000 new jobs, 54,000 in manufacturing, unemployment at 50-year low, wages up 3%. Less taxes and regulation, more freedom for you and your family. Get government out of the way, and the economy booms. Other things that are booming under our president: today's real Donald Trump approval ratings among black voters is at 35%. This day last year, 23% at the president at real Donald Trump. Lori Hendry says Democrats also boycotted Lincoln's inauguration because he had this radical idea of ending slavery. Let that sink in. And then Brian Fraser, 747, says it's ironic how the Dems scream racism so often. At real Donald Trump has actually helped minorities. Dems only promise to. We will see a great shift with the African American vote in 2020. I believe it's a main reason they are desperate to stop him. They won't recover from that. Let's look at Candace Owens, Asan Tarabi. This is amazing video posted right here. Take a look.
The Republicans will never in our lifetime ever nominate a black. The key here is, I want to be clear on that. They'll never.
That is so crazy. That is,
never happen.
you know what? Republicans are going to do.
They'll never nominate a black during our lifetime as president. Now, if I'll go,
our party actually freed the slaves. Okay, it was our party that freed the slaves.
Leo, you can't take that seriously.
Candace belongs to a party that will never nominate a person like herself as president.
Yeah, they would actually. They're already making Candace Owens 2024 shirts, so that's ridiculous. Candace Owens. Candace Owens. There's a name. Yeah, you don't think I could get nominated to work with the Republicans?
You will never be nominated as a Republican.
And you know what? You're never going to be successful. You're never going to be successful because all you see is color, Leo. It's unfortunate. These are not talking points. You're racist. That's a racist thing to say. You're looking at the color of my skin and telling me what I can do.
The Republican Party.
Isn't it great to see them fighting back? Thank you, Candace Owens, for standing up to the truth and show this man who he really is. So I went to Candace Owens' Twitter. Notice that she puts America as the same spiritual battle today as she was during the Revolutionary War. Colonists are fighting against an overreaching government and against those among us that are inexplicably loyal to it. My friend John Voight told me that on Thanksgiving. And John Voight just happened to put out a Christmas wish the other day.
My holy wish for this nation is truth. Truth, to open up, to hear, and to give it a chance. My fellow Americans, this is a time to celebrate with loved ones and to cherish each day. It's a gift from God. It's a time to rejoice, a time to pray for our lost loved ones, and a time for our great nation to heal. Yes, heal from anger, heal from sadness, and heal from all the past mistakes. We're here today, and this is a blessing. Let us all come together. Let us all truly accept that we as one nation are strong. Put aside your anger and look at all the achievements that President Trump has done in the last 3 years. He has brought back jobs to the American people. Our homes are safe, and we're feeling stability again. Yes, he has made America great again. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah. God bless the USA.
God bless the USA. Thank you, John Voight. Love your messages. And let's finish with positive here, the Christmas. Merry Christmas. This is from Renee Carroll, Arizona.
And at Christmas, we remember this eternal truth. Every person is a beloved child of God. As one grateful nation, we praise the joy of family, the blessings of freedom, and the miracle of Christmas. On behalf of Melania and our entire family, Merry Christmas, and God bless you all. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, President of the United States, Donald Trump, and your wife, Melania. Thank you for everything that you're doing for our nation. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we just come to you once again, thanking you for all that you have done for us up to this point. and just awakening so many across the world. We ask that you continue to protect our great president and his family from these attacks, and also just to grant wisdom to him and all of the leadership surrounding him. Thank you for what the military is doing to support him. Thank you, God, that we're noticing so much more how great you are and how you appoint just great leaders for us at a time that we needed it the most. Please continue to protect us, Lord, each one of us, and all of the QAnon truthers out there today. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you like this video, please hit that like button and share. And also, thank you for the positive comments since we started doing these news updates every 2 to 3 days. We really appreciate the positive messages received on that. Thank you for visiting the store and grabbing the shirts and sweatshirts and hats and what have you. It's been great to see that. And also to all the patrons sending their love and support and prayers. We certainly enjoy reading and discussing these things with you. For now, this is LT. Until next time, with And We Know, signing out.